Hello again, YouTube. I am sitting in my tent with a mostly full battery on a fairly cold day. I got bored hanging out in the Panera, and I wanted to talk to the people who are commenting on my work. And I want to address. I won't be able to address all of their concerns because, frankly, I haven't written a good enough script, and I don't want to read to you. I do want to try to go off the dome, so I have been. I want to do these in shorter than 2 hour long forms. So try to address concerns all at once quickly. And my guy, I really am enjoying my conversation with him. Of course, I wrote down his name and I've forgotten it, but we're still talking about forgiveness, and he's making good points that forgiveness is kind of a not forgiveness, forgiving, doing forgiving is something that you do, and it's something that you do in the moment. And so where he's taking umbrage is that my saying that it's not retroactive, it is into the future. Forgiveness is into the future. And individual forgiving happens any moment that it happens. That's fine. Where he's hung up right now, and what I find difficult, because I'm not trying to teach you to be a Christian, I'm just trying to explain to you what these things mean, right? And why they're necessary. Is he says, well, you can choose to forgive someone for one thing, but also hold the condition of forgiveness against them in the future. You can say, well, I forgive you for having done that, but I'm not going to forgive you next time you do it. And yes, yes, everything that everybody who's arguing with me about forgiveness is saying is right. The thing they're not understanding is that Jesus is telling them that that's cheating. You you can't get to goodness by cheating, by cutting corners. Jesus is saying that love is unconditional, and then people are going, well, what does that mean? What is love? What does that mean? And Jesus is saying you don't hold the condition of loving behaviors like forgiveness conditional. You don't say, well, I'm going to love you with forgiveness so long as you meet these requirements. And if you fail to meet these requirements, I'm not going to love you. Jesus is saying that you have a choice to behave however you want, but there's only one right way to behave. And so, yeah, you can hold forgiveness conditional. You can say, well, they hurt my feelings once. I'm going to forgive them for it now, but if they do it again, I'm never forgiving them again. And what Jesus is saying is that that's the wrong way to live. You will regret that later in life, because he's talking toward the future. He's saying that what you want to do, where you want to be, and how you will know that you are actually working toward the coming kingdom of God is if you already find yourself forgiving people for wrongs against you. If, when you imagine a wrong being done to you, you don't get all emotional and mad about it and let it ruin your day. And I think that's beautiful. I think that, like, my doing this now, my forgiving you for arguing with me, for example, and understanding that you're going to argue with this video should you watch it, is what I'm talking about. It's forgiveness into the future. It's he he wants to argue that mercy is a lesser punishment and that forgiveness is no punishment. And that's fine, because what he's not doing is understanding that the words we have today aren't just the words we have today. A lot of words have become misunderstood and misused over time. Forgiveness is one of those words that's been misused and forgotten over time. The etymological root of the word forgiveness is forgiven, right? And what it means is to be allowed out of a debt, or to not be penalized for a crime. The words that are used in the biblical canon for forgiveness are like 7 or 9 different words, and they mean a variety of things. And so, what that means is that Jesus looked out at the Germano Celtic religion, at their language, and said, this idea of perdonare is, or nare, I believe, actually, but this idea of pardoning someone is the way to live your life at every level of abstraction, because you have to remember the people Jesus is criticizing are the elite and the mega wealthy and the government, but the people he's teaching to live a good life are the very poor. So if you're not either of those things, he's not talking to you, and you actually don't need to worry about these things unless you choose to. So these people who are arguing with me and saying, well, I think you can come to idiosyncratic ideas, they're not wrong. They're just wrong. You understand? If what they want to do is also become religious leaders, they are Antichrist. But they're not trying to be religious leaders. I am. Therefore, I can't be wrong. I have to insist that I'm right about this. And that is a bummer, because it's hard to love you and insist that you're wrong. It's almost impossible, in fact, to love you and insist that you're wrong, because as Paul said, love doesn't insist on itself. So I have to not insist on myself. I have to say, you're right, but we could work on this a little bit. We could work on getting you to a place where you agree with me without me bashing you in the head and telling you that you have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me. You can choose to forgive this and not forgive that, and forgive this and not forgive that. You can live that way. That is a free will way to live. In fact, it's an elite way to live. And that's okay. You're allowed that. And I wouldn't recommend it, because people are not, they're going to hold things against you too. If you hold things against people, they will hold things against you. And that's kind of the point. You're not really in a position to have or not have mercy against people. But when you are in a position to have or not have mercy against people, forgiveness is a good reminder of how to behave. It's a good reminder of what will get you a good reputation. And reputation is everything. You want a good reputation. Thanks for watching. Keep up the comments. I'm really enjoying this meta conversation I'm having with you guys. I actually rearranged my whole day to engage with you in the comments, and I'm having a good day talking on Twitter. So it's been a good day for me. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that.